Hey, hi, hello. Here we go for another part of our read along. Our read along at the moment is Kenneth Grahame's The Wind in the Willows, and tonight we're halfway through chapter 2. And if you remember, Toad and Rat and Mole are out in Toad's caravan, just walking along the road or driving, trundling along the road. We ended it with the end was indeed nearer than even the rat suspected. And we all know, don't we, that Toad flits between his current interests. His current interest is his caravan, but that's about to change, isn't it? Here we go then. In my edition, the Wordsworth edition, we're starting on page 44. After so much open air and excitement, the Toad slept very soundly, and no amount of shaking could rouse him out of bed the next morning. So the Mole and Rat turned to quietly and manfully, and while the Rat saw to the horse and lit a fire and cleaned last night's cups and platters and got things ready for breakfast, the Mole trudged off to the nearest village, a long way off, for milk and eggs and various necessaries the Toad had, of course, forgotten to provide. The hard work had all been done, and the two animals were resting, thoroughly exhausted, and by the time the Toad appeared on the scene, fresh and gay, remarking what a pleasant, easy life it was that they were all leading now, after the cares and worries and fatigues of housekeeping at home. They had a pleasant ramble that day over grassy downs and along narrow by-lanes, and camped, as before, on a common, only this time the two guests took care that Toad should do his fair share of work. In consequence, when the time came for starting next morning, Toad was by no means so rapturous about the simplicity of the primitive life, and indeed attempted to resume his place in his bunk, whence he was hauled by force. Their way lay, as before, across country by narrow lanes, and it was not till the afternoon that they came out on the high road, their first high road. And there disaster, fleet and unforeseen, sprang out on them. Disaster momentous indeed to their expedition, but simply overwhelming in its effect on the after career of Toad. They were strolling along the high road easily, the Mole by the horse's head, talking to him since the horse had complained that he was being frightfully left out of it, and nobody considered him in the least. The Toad and the Water Rat walking behind the cart, talking together. At least, Toad was talking, and Rat was saying at intervals, "Yes, precisely, and what did you say to him?" and thinking all the time of something very different, when far behind them they heard a faint warning hum, like the drone of a distant bee. Glancing back, they saw a small cloud of dust with a dark centre of energy advancing on them at incredible speed, while out of the dust a faint boop boop wailed like an uneasy animal in pain. Hardly regarding it, they turned to resume their conversation, when, in an instant, as it seemed, the peaceful scene was changed, and with a blast of wind and a whirl of sound that made them jump for the nearest ditch, it was on them. The poop poop rang with a brazen shout in their ears, and they had a moment's glimpse of an interior of glittering plate glass and rich morocco, and the magnificent motor car, immense, breath-snatching, passionate, with its pilot tense and hugging his wheel, possessed all earth and air for the fraction of a second, flung an enveloping cloud of dust that blinded and enwrapped them utterly, and then dwindled to a speck in the far distance, changed back into a droning bee once more. The old grey horse, dreaming as he plodded along of his quiet paddock, in a new raw situation such as this, abandoned himself to his natural emotions, rearing, plunging, backing steadily, in spite of all the Mole's efforts at his head, and all the Mole's lively language directed at his better feelings. He drove the cart backwards toward the deep ditch at the side of the road. It wavered an instant, and there was a heart-rending crash, and the canary-coloured cart, their pride and their joy, lay on its side in the ditch, an irredeemable wreck. The Rat danced up and down the road, simply transported with passion. "You villains!" he shouted, shaking both fists. "You scoundrels! You highwaymen! You road hogs! I'll have the law on you! I'll report you! I'll take you through all the courts!" His homesickness had quite slipped away from him, and for the moment he was the skipper of the canary-coloured vessel, driven on a shoal by the reckless jockeying of rival mariners, and he was trying to recollect all the fine and biting things he used to say to masters of steam launches when their wash, as they drove too near the bank, used to flood his parlour carpet at home. Toad sat straight down in the middle of the dusty road, his legs stretched out before him, and stared fixedly in the direction of the disappearing motor car. He breathed short, his face wore a placid, satisfied expression, and at intervals he faintly murmured, "Poop, poop." The mole was busy trying to quiet the horse, which he succeeded in doing after a time. Then he went to look at his cart, on its side in a ditch. It was indeed a sorry sight. Panels and windows smashed, axles hopelessly bent, one wheel off, sardine tins scattered over the wide world, and the bird in the birdcage sobbing pitifully and calling to be let out. The rat came to help him, but their united efforts were not sufficient to right the cart. "Hey, Toad!" they cried. "Come and bear a hand, won't you?" The toad never answered a word or budged from his seat in the road, so they went to see what the matter was with him. They found him in a sort of trance, a happy smile on his face, his eyes still fixed on the dusty wake of their destroyer. At intervals he was still heard to murmur, "Boop, boop." The rat shook him by the shoulder. "Are you coming to help us, Toad?" he demanded sternly. "Glorious, stirring sight," murmured Toad, never offering to move. "The poetry of motion, the real way to travel, the only way to travel. Here today, in next week by tomorrow. Villages skipped, towns, cities jumped. Always somebody else's horizon. Oh, bliss! Oh, poop, poop! Oh, my! Oh, my! Oh, stop being an ass, Toad!" cried the mole despairingly. "And to think I never knew," went on the toad in a dreamy monotone, "all those wasted years that lie behind me. I never knew, never even dreamed. But now that I know, now that I fully realise, oh, what a flowery track lies spread before me henceforth. What dust clouds shall bring up behind me as I speed on my reckless way. Carts I shall fling carelessly into the ditch in the wake of my magnificent onset. Horrid little carts, common carts, canary-coloured carts." What are we going to do with him?" asked the mole of the water rat. "Nothing at all," replied the rat firmly, "because there is really nothing to be done. You see, I know him from of old. He is now possessed. He has got a new craze, and it always takes him that way in its first stage. He'll continue like that for days now, like an animal walking in a happy dream. Quite useless for all practical purposes. Never mind him. Let's go and see what there is to be done about the cart." A careful inspection showed them that even if they succeeded in righting it by themselves, the cart would travel no longer. The axles were in a hopeless state, and the missing wheel was shattered into pieces. The rat knotted the horse's reins over his back and took him by the head, carrying the bird cage and its hysterical occupant in the other hand. "Come on," he said grimly to the mole. "It's 5 or 6 miles to the nearest town, and we shall just have to walk it. The sooner we make a start, the better." "But what about Toad?" asked the mole anxiously as they set off together. "We can't leave him here, sitting in the middle of the road by himself in that distracted state he's in. It's not safe. Supposing another thing were to come along." "Oh, bother Toad," said the rat savagely. "I've done with him." They had not proceeded very far in their way, however, when there was a pattering of feet behind them, and Toad caught them up and thrust a paw inside the elbow of each of them, still breathing short and staring into vacancy. "Now look here, Toad," said the rat sharply. "As soon as we get to town, you'll have to go straight to the police station and see if they know anything about that motor car and who it belongs to. You're going to have to lodge a complaint against it. Then you'll have to go to a blacksmith's or a wheelwright's and arrange for the cart to be fetched and mended and put to rights. It'll take time, but it's not quite a hopeless smash. Meanwhile, the mole and I will go to an inn and find comfortable rooms where we can stay till the cart is ready, and till your nerves have recovered from their shock." "Police station? Complaint?" murmured Toad dreamily. "Me complain of that beautiful, that heavenly vision that has been vouchsafed me. Mend the cart. I've done with carts forever. I never want to see the cart or to hear of it again, Ratty. You can't think how obliged I am to you for consenting to come on this trip. I wouldn't have gone without you, and then I might never have seen that swan, that sunbeam, that thunderbolt. I might never have heard that entrancing sound or smelt that bewitching smell. I owe it all to you, my best of friends. The rat turned from him in despair. You see what it is, he said to the mole, addressing him across Toad's head. He's quite hopeless. I give it up. When we get to the town, we'll go to the railway station, and with luck, we may pick up a train that'll get us back to the riverbank tonight. And if you ever catch me going a-pleasuring with this provoking animal again... He snorted, and during the rest of that wary trudge addressed his remarks exclusively to Mole. On reaching the town, they went straight to the station and deposited Toad in a second-class waiting room, giving a porter twopence to keep a strict eye on him. They then left the horse at an inn stable and gave what directions they could about the cart and its contents. Eventually, a slow train having landed them at a station not very far from Toad Hall, they escorted the spellbound, sleepwalking Toad to his door, put him inside it, and instructed his housekeeper to feed him, undress him, and put him to bed. Then they got out their boat from the boathouse, sculled down the river home, and at a very late hour sat down to supper in their own cosy riverside parlour, to the rat's great joy and contentment. The following evening, the mole, who had risen late and taken things very easy all day, was sitting on the bank fishing, when the rat, who had been looking up at his friends and gossiping, came strolling along to find him. Have you heard the news? He said. There's nothing else being talked about all along the riverbank. Toad went up to town by an early train this morning. He has ordered a large and very expensive motor car. Well, there you go. That was the end of chapter 2. So sometimes at the end of our videos, I just read some comments, some of your comments off of YouTube. So if you're a newbie to the channel and you ever do comment, if it's something that you don't want me to read out, you have to start it with, don't read this out. Simple as, all right? Sometimes you might want to say personal things to me, you know, which, okay, are on my channel, but I won't read them out then. Okay, but let's have a little look, shall we? I've been love-hearting people's comments, but I think there's a couple. Oh, gosh, there is a few more. So here's Melanie. Let's start with Melanie. Hi, Melanie. So Melanie commented on the first episode of this. So nice to have you back. Thanks, Melanie. This one is a perfect bedtime story. Hadn't thought of it, but agree that the older language enhances the Alice in Wonderland quality with the talking animals. I was lulled and sleepily in the boat with these fellows in the lovely world when my mind went, wait, a water rat would eat chicken? And how would he procure it? Oh, never mind, what a splendid picnic basket and boat ride down the river next to a meadow. Rats eat chicken, don't they? Yeah, they eat everything, don't they, old rats? But yeah, not out of a hamper. Like I say, it's a bit Alice in Wonderland, I suppose, isn't it? Let's love heart that for Melanie. It worked. Here's Vegetals. Hello, Vegetals. The start of this book is very charming. Thanks. Well, I didn't write it, but it is. Thanks for your comment. I'm not taking credit. Kenneth Grahame. Here's Lady C. Thank you so much for reading to us whilst you're still poorly. Oh no, I'm a soldier. I've been that poorly, we're just getting up for a cup of tea, and I was done for the rest of the day. Gosh. Today I went out for a relaxing facial, decided not to go to the laundrette, and had the rest of yesterday's takeaway for dinner. Lush. That's the kind of day you want. Here's Mary. Hi, Mary. Thank you, Mr. S. Loving your reading. Sorry you're still feeling poorly. Oh, thanks, Mary. Hope you are back to your normal self soon. As hubby had surgery on his eye, oh gosh, I had to put drops in. Gosh. Wednesday was exhausted. I bet you were. Asleep on the sofa half the afternoon with a very fluffy poodle across me. Crikey. Poodles are quite big, aren't they? Very warm. Oh, there you go. 35 kilograms of dog can be really cuddly. Had a chat with the eldest son today and the 2 German grandchildren. They're on half term now too. Hey, big up the half term. Grandson took part in a handball game and scored a goal, though as he has a broken bone in his foot, he didn't play for long. Good job I went football. Gosh. Love to Mary. Here's Melanie again. I'm a day behind because bedtime story and the time difference, but loved the chat tonight as well as the story. That was on number 2, and I think that was when I was talking about my grandparents, wasn't it? I'd love one day just to take my phone and show you around where my grandparents used to live. Is obviously like from the 80s to now it has changed massively, and they had this really big house, like, because houses were about 10p in those days, weren't they? But they had this really big house, which now I think someone recently sold it for a couple of million. But they didn't get a couple of million for it, obvs, when they sold it. But yeah, I'd love to show it to you. I think it's now been broken up as well, and like one big house has turned into 3 different houses. But yeah, I'll show you one day. Here is dragon. Nothing exciting this weekend. It's okay. Sometimes we can. Oh, because I asked, didn't I? I was going to live through you guys. Okay, it needs to be exciting if I'm going to live through you, Dragonfly. Just some decluttering projects around the house. Some drawing. What are you drawing? Some laundry. It's gorgeous out. So hopefully we can be outside some more. I hope your throat feels better. So do I, Dragonfly. It's nice here as well, Dragonfly. Yeah, as you can see, look above the river there. Lovely fluffy clouds. No, out in the real world it is nice here today as well. So yeah. Right, okay. I'm gonna love you and leave you. And what are we? Monday for me tomorrow, but hey, like I said, I'm on holes, so we'll be alright. I'll see you all tomorrow.